Hello everybody and welcome. We're at the Kyiv International Cyber Resilience Forum here in the nation's capital, and I'm now joined by Nataliya Tkachuk. She's the head of the Information and Cybersecurity Directorate at the Office of National Security and the Defense Council of Ukraine. Thank you so much for joining us on TV.
Thank you for invitation.
Yes. Now, when we look at the scale of cybersecurity, there is somewhat of a talent gap in Ukraine. Do you believe that this talent gap is shrinking or growing?
It's a very good question because the key asset of our cybersecurity is people. Without people, we cannot provide cybersecurity no matter how big budget we can have or great procedures. And you see that the war is going on, and our men, they are just serving their constitutional duty. They're fighting the enemy on the front line. Even many of the brilliant IT professionals. There is a really gap. And that's why the National Cybersecurity Coordination Center, we started the initiative to promote role of women to cybersecurity. And for Ukraine, it's not a question of gender balance or social solidarity. It is the question of simply survival. Because the war is going on, of course, but we need to provide functioning of key elements of national security and economy, which is cybersecurity actually. So for us, it's very important.
And that's very interesting. So how do you see this growing? Do you see a greater role for women in this sector?
Greater role and plus a bigger number of women. From the universities, even from high schools, girls who would choose their profession in cybersecurity. And I'm talking not only about IT professionals, because there are lack of such specialists as cyber diplomats, cyber people who would understand in cyber legislation. For example, for me, as a head of the cybersecurity department in Ukraine, it's much more easy to find hacker who would hack the Russian system than to find legate understanding international humanitarian law from the perspective of cyber operations.
Interesting. Now, how is Ukraine encouraging the younger generations to choose this direction, choose this path? Because it will be very lucrative, I would imagine, for the future.
Now we are working on a roadmap of our initiative, and tomorrow we will have a first workshop. So we would like to create practical steps what we need to do. And this is very important because, first of all, we need to popularize this. Second, we need to explain to our youth that you need to stay in Ukraine. Because usually, IT specialists before war, it's very easy to work outsource. And many of them, they're working outsource for EU countries, for other countries. But we need for them to stay in Ukraine.
Well, and especially the women, because they can actually lead.
Exactly, yes.
So have you experienced somewhat of a brain drain with women since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine?
From cybersecurity, no, because it's not so much women in cybersecurity, that's why.
Yeah, well, that's why there needs to be...
But there is another thing. Our priority is also, to somehow to allocate these brains, people who left Ukraine the first year of war, to work for Ukraine, for national security, even if they are staying temporarily somewhere abroad. Because it's cyberspace and you can do this.
Well, another big topic, it's something that we're facing in Europe and many EU countries. I know that it's been a persistent threat here in Ukraine, and that is dis and misinformation in the informational space that's out there. Have you seen an uptick as of late, say in the last year and a half, of such activities on social networks here in Ukraine?
It's a very good, just great question. And probably I will start not this year and a half, but from 2014. Because actually this war started from information domain. And Ukraine then, many years back, we lost this war. Why? Because we could not argue that this was war that going on. Because all the European world, EU and NATO countries, they were wearing pink glasses without any understanding that Russia was an aggressor. because Russia have been winning this information war. And that's why in 2022, it could happen, the invasion, because of this information domain that was prepared by the enemy. But when this war started, Ukraine got the advantage. Ukraine got the advantage, and all the world actually united to support us. And now this is very important to keep this advantage, especially when we're talking about this conversation about peace treaty. Because now Russia is spending all their efforts in hybrid operations. Disinformation, they coordinate disinformation operations, plus cyber operations, plus using conventional weapons, all of them. And they have huge budget. We cannot conquer them simply if comparing our budgets. And they're doing the same thing against European countries, simply the same. And there is one thing that we understand perfectly well, that even if the active phase of war stops, Russia will immediately allocate this part of budget to its hybrid toolbox. So the level of disinformation and cyber attacks against Ukraine and EU countries will arise. And we need to be ready for this.
I would imagine even if we get to a peace agreement, then the real major war in the informational space will continue to persist for years, if not decades.
Exactly,
Do you agree?
in information and in cybersphere, because, for example, now Russia is not in a state of war with EU countries, but look what Russia is doing against Poland. The recent cyber attack on Polish energy facility is the same that Russia did 10 years ago against us with black energy virus, and even the same hacker group of Russian special service did it. And now 10 years, and the end of December, it's against Poland. And you know what happened next in Ukraine? So what's going to be next against EU countries?
What is your advice for European countries right now as they face a multitude of hybrid threats and attacks, actually, including in this sphere? How should Europe react to this? You think that they should build some kind of cyber army?
I think that Europe should be proactive. It's not enough simply monitoring hybrid threats, simply condemn. It's not enough. If we're talking about disinformation, yes, all the countries can monitor how the disinformation spreads, what botnets Russia has, but what next? Monitoring is not enough. Because reaction is one thing, but proactive measures is another. But Europe does not do neither this nor that, and this is the problem.
Does Ukraine currently embark on offensive operations?
We are in a state of war. According to international humanitarian law, we have right to self-defense. So, of course, we conduct proactive offensive cyber operations to protect our critical infrastructure, our information domain, and our national interest and territorial integrity.
Can you give us some general examples?
No, sorry.
Of what this looks
When
like?
the war ends, we will discuss this more openly.
I have to try. What about Europe? Should Europe embark upon the same thing? I mean, we're not technically at war, but we recognize that these hybrid attacks are, in some ways, hostile actions that could have very real consequences. Should Europe be more on the offensive right now?
Of course, but my answer is yes, but probably it's your people who should say, come on, Russia attacked our critical energy infrastructure. If this attack would have been successful, 10,000 of Polish citizens would stay without electricity. So probably it's Polish citizens who should go to parliament and say, hey, come on, guys, let's be proactive. Protect us from Russia.
And then with when we look at cooperation between Ukraine, I imagine Ukraine can teach a lot to other European countries and even Poland. Are there areas where you're collaborating with Polish authorities, for instance, in matters that you have developed the expertise?
You know, we are collaborating with Poland, we are collaborating with other EU countries, but still it's not enough, I don't know, joint mechanisms when we could share our knowledge, because we are ready. We can conduct workshops, we can, do some trainings for EU countries, but somehow it does not work. I don't know why. We are open to organize this.
How about here at this conference? I know this is the 3rd edition, but this is the biggest one yet. What advantages do you see to having forums like this?
Well, it's a great advantage, because this is a platform for cooperation between governments, private sector, business, academia, and it's in the heart of Ukraine, in Kyiv. And this forum already became a symbol of our resiliency and our cooperation. So it's a great opportunity for our European partners and Western countries to take a look what is going on in the reality and to learn something from us.
Well, let's hope that they take great advantage of that. Nataliya Tkachuk, thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate it. Thank you. And that concludes this edition here of these discussions from the Kyiv International Cyber Resilience Forum in the nation's capital. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time. Goodbye.